If you're a visitor online and would like to be added to our mailing list, you can put your name and email address in the chat box. If you're visiting in person this morning, you can stand and introduce yourself if you'd like. Do we have any?
I am Robin.
Hi, Sandy. A big welcome to everyone this morning. You can visit our website, uucatskills.org, to find contact information, to be added to the mailing list, and to find the latest newsletter. You will also find newsworthy items on upcoming events in our UU community in our weekly updates as well. A reminder that people of all ages, children young and old, are welcome here at UU Catskills. There's a space across the hall for anyone who would like to hear the service while being able to freely move about. After the service, please stay for an in-person or virtual coffee break. Here at UU Catskills, we all share the gifts of our talent. Applause is not necessary. Please take a moment and turn off your electronic devices. Give yourself permission to be fully present here now. I have a few announcements this morning. We need more tech hosts for an occasional Zoom session. Please talk to Jenny Giddy after coffee hour. Jenny's over here. And we have a new member of our congregation, Stu Jacobson, who is running a little late this morning. Stu comes to us from a previous UU congregation, and he's already found his place here on the social action team and in a few other areas. This morning, our social action moment is from the climate action team. We now live in a world largely of our own creation. What will we do with it? We will not sit back to wait patiently for calamity. We will rethink the world we've made. We will draw our energy from the sun and the wind that drive the dance of water from surface to atmosphere and back. We will endure and change like the water on which we depend. We must. This is from Droughts and Floods by Kate Marvel. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are guided by a set of principles and written sources that encompass the many ways we come to know and understand the world, the universe, and the divine. Our principles are important to us at UU Catskills, and we live our lives, our values on a daily basis. We affirm that Black Lives Matter. We are a welcoming and affirming congregation for the LGBTQ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. And we are an active voice in the efforts to address climate change. Our sanctuary is built on the tribal land of the Lenni Lenape people, currently known as Kingston. Our prelude this morning is The Gift by Philip Arberg, played by Bill Toole. Do we have any children this morning that would like to help with the chalice lighting? Please join me in saying the chalice lighting words which are in your order of service. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community. Even in the darkest of times, may its flame light paths to courage, justice, and hope. And now our unison affirmation. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected in wonder and joy to mystery and miracle in the universe, in this community, and in each other. Our opening words today are by Greg Kimura. For Malidoma Some, Loon Lake, 2000. You enter life a ship laden with meaning, purpose, and gifts sent to be delivered to a hungry world. And as much as the world needs your cargo, you need to give it away. Everything depends on this. But world forgets its needs, and you forget your mission, and the ancestral maps used to guide you have become faded scrawls on a parchment of dead pharaohs. The cargo weighs you heavy the longer it is held, and spoilage becomes a risk. The ship sputters from port to port, and in each you ask, is this the way? But the way cannot be found without knowing the cargo, and the cargo cannot be known without recognizing there is a way, and it is simply this. You have gifts, and the world needs your gifts, and you must deliver them. The world may not know that it is starving, but the hungry know, and they will find you when you discover your cargo and start to give it away. Carol Ryder is going to give our reading this morning, The Gift by Alan Cohen.
It should have been the peak of my teaching career. I've spent years devising techniques to engage the students in my class, and they have been successful. But this year is different. No matter what I do, I cannot generate any spark of excitement in the kids. The technique I have integrated into my work fall flat, one after another. I blame the students. They have no interest, no leader, no love of learning. I blame their parents, who do not offer support, their previous teachers, who failed them and brought them to this mediocre state. It certainly couldn't be me. Then I attend a week-long workshop in the mountains of North Carolina. I think I'm going to learn about myth and story, traditional culture, and multicultural healing. What I bring back is a precious lesson, the gift of a teacher from an African tribal background. I learned that many tribal cultures had in the basic tenets of their philosophy the idea that everyone enters the world with a unique gift. The idea was passed to the ancient Greeks and expressed in the writings of Plato. It became widespread, but seems to have gone into hiding in these modern times. The gift comes with each newborn child, but in the cosmologies of each particular group that embrace the idea, the gift is forgotten upon entering the world. Whether from stepping into the river of forgetfulness, hugging a tree of forgetting, or the birth trauma itself. Once here, the child holds great potential. It is a most important part of life to discover one's gift and grow into it. Everything depends on this. Once the gift is known, it is an obligation to give it generously to one's people and the world. One rarely knows the gift until it is seen by someone credible. Then it can be activated in our culture. The person most likely to see it is a teacher. Returning to my class, I began the process of seeing the gift in each student. There was no dramatic epiphany, but I now felt different about my purpose. Over the years, as in any serious practice, my ability grew. I was able to recognize gifts in particular students and convey this to them. I taught the gift idea to them so they could see gifts in others. I realized that students shifting their own thinking could not marginalize others as easily as before. They respected each other. Denying or bullying another person prevents them from giving their gift. The idea of building my career by using techniques slowly died into the practice of creating an environment in which the students felt gifted and seen. They learned in order to gain skills that would help them give themselves to the world. It made all the difference.
Our hymn is number 131 in the gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us. Please stand if you are able and join us in singing it. Our story this morning is Amelia and Her Super Magical Powers by Gail Spar. This is the story of a young girl named Amelia. Amelia was fascinated by tales of people with superpowers like Wonder Woman, or magic like Harry Potter. She yearned to have powers like that so she could help people. Like the boy she often saw sitting all alone at lunch, looking very sad. If I had magic powers, I could make him smile, she said to herself. Or like the little kids who were being picked on in the schoolyard by an older girl. Oh, superpowers would straighten her out fast. And whenever she walked past the old, run-down park near her house, she imagined how magic powers could fix it up so kids had a place to play. One night, just as Amelia was about to fall asleep, a fairy godmother came into her room. "Hello, Amelia, I'm here to help you. What have you been wishing for?" "Oh," said Amelia, "please give me some super magic powers so I can make a difference." "Well," said the fairy godmother, "I'm happy to give you some magic, Amelia, but my—" "Oh, thank you," cried Amelia, and with that she fell right to sleep. The next morning when Amelia woke up, she remembered what had happened the night before. She jumped out of bed, eager to get going and test out her new superpowers. You know, say some secret words, give a high sign or something else to make the magic happen. And she realized she didn't have any. But she decided she'd figure it all out as she went along. That day at lunch, she saw that same sad boy sitting by himself. "Let's try my magic," she said, as she wiggled her fingers at him from a distance. Nothing. Maybe I need to get closer, she thought. So she walked closer to him, and he looked up at her. She couldn't help but give him a friendly smile. And when she did, his face beamed with his own huge smile. "Ha," thought Amelia, "I really do have magic." "Can I join you for lunch?" she asked. "Sure," he said, smiling even bigger. The two of them laughed and talked all during lunchtime. She learned his name was Bobby, and he had just moved there. He didn't know anyone, and he was too shy to go up to kids and talk. Well, Amelia and Bobby became good friends, and Bobby smiled a lot from then on. One day soon after that, Amelia and Bobby were in the playground when they saw Karen bullying two younger kids by the swings. She had read what to do about bullies, but she had never tried any of it before. But now with her superpowers, she knew she could help. "Come on, Bobby, let's go help those kids." So they walked up to where Karen stood over the two children, and Amelia wiggled her fingers and said loudly, "Karen, stop it right now. Come on, Dodie and Lou, come with Bobby and me. You're safe with us." After the four of them had left, Amelia told the two, "If she bothers you again, just turn around and walk away. Act like you don't hear her. Don't show any emotion. And if she keeps on trying to hurt you, let Mr. Crenshaw in the office know. I'll go with you if you need me to." They did just as Amelia said, and Karen never bothered those kids again. Well, by now Amelia was feeling pretty good about her super magic powers. How can I use them to fix up our old park, she wondered. Wiggling her fingers didn't work. She still didn't know any magic words. Maybe if I start working to clean it, something will occur to me. And so she did. She took trash bags to the park and started picking up trash that had been left there. Before long, a couple of friends came by and asked what she was doing. "I'm fixing our park so we can play in it again." That sounded like a great idea to her friends, and they began to help. Soon other kids joined them. They picked up trash, pulled weeds, cleared out dead brush. Little by little, the park began to look better. When some of the parents saw the improvement, they decided to help. Some mowed the grass, others built picnic tables, and still others convinced the city to buy some new equipment. It was hard work, and it took many days, but they got their new park. When it was all done, the whole neighborhood had a picnic in their new park to celebrate it. After the picnic, Amelia fell exhausted into bed. She was just about asleep when the fairy godmother came back. "Oh, I'm so happy to see you," said Amelia. "I want to thank you for giving me all those super magic powers." "But I tried to tell you my wand was broken. I didn't give you any," said the fairy godmother. "You must have given me powers," protested Amelia. "How else could I have made Bobby happy, stopped a bully, and given our neighborhood a wonderful park?" And the fairy godmother just smiled. "My dear, you did that because you possess 3 powers that you developed yourself: kindness, bravery, and determination. With those 3 things, you are making a difference." And with that, Amelia fell fast asleep. And now we'll sing our children out. We take this time to reflect on our joys and concerns and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. To you, that is where listening begins. When I show you that I hear you, when I say that your life matters, that is where compassion begins. It's now time for our offering. You can give in several ways. Drop something in the basket when it is passed, use the QR code in your order of service, or give by going to uucatskill.org. We contribute to worthy organizations with our half-plate donation. This money will be shared among 7 charitable groups. Please give generously. Our offertory today is "Christmas Time is Here" by Vince Giraldi, played by Bill Toole. We thank you for your gifts. And thank you, Bill. For over the last 30 years, Bill has played here the first Sunday of every month, and today is his last service. We're very grateful to him for sharing his talents, his time, and for his commitment. He will be particularly missed. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And as is our custom here at UU Catskills, we'll celebrate after the service with cake. We usually think of generosity in terms of giving time and money, but there are many other forms of generosity. Our homily this morning is based on the work done by the regional staff in the Northeast region of the Unitarian Universalist Association, particularly someone you might be familiar with, Reverend Erica Barron, our minister from 2013 to 2019. But first, some background and definitions, so please bear with me. Reverend Erica is currently a congregational consultant for the New England region of the UUA, helping UU congregations in New England when they have questions or struggles, when the wider context beyond the congregation is helpful, or when an outside person is needed to hold something. She and her counterparts act as companions in the joyous and difficult parts of congregational life. In order to do this, the regional staff developed the concept of spiritual leadership. Spiritual leadership is their term for a way of living that is rooted in our values, giving what is ours to give the world and joining with others to create communities of love and liberation for everyone. Spiritual leadership is not only for identified leaders. Everyone can develop their own spiritual leadership. And since every person is unique, spiritual leadership looks different in each individual person. And we can recognize it through the commitment to living our values and offering what we can in community. The purpose of congregational life at its core is to support everyone in the congregation to find and develop their spiritual leadership while creating communities of love and liberation for all. Hang in there a little longer, we're almost done. One of the ways to practice spiritual leadership is the use of centering in gifts. Our understanding of this practice has been deeply informed by Malidoma Some, who was an elder of the Dagara people in West Africa. He understood his mission to be bringing this wisdom to the world. New England regional staff member Mek Groot has studied with him extensively, and she has brought his understanding of gifts to us. Malidoma Some is the workshop leader who taught this practice to the author of today's reading that Carol read. The Dagara people understand that we all have gifts. These gifts come into the world when we are born. The purpose of these gifts is to maintain the well-being of the community. Whether they are raised in indigenous or modern culture, there are two things that people crave: the full realization of their innate gifts, and to have these gifts approved, acknowledged, and confirmed. Now, when we say gifts, that needs a little explanation, because we live in a context that is really focused on productivity and marketable skills. So lots of us have learned all kinds of skills and techniques that we use in our work life, our congregational lives, our families, everywhere we go. There are lots of very helpful skills and techniques for all kinds of tasks and situations, and they can be really valuable. But gifts are something different. Notice that Malidoma Some calls them innate gifts. You're born with them. They are part of your nature. You can develop and hone them for sure, but you don't have to learn them at a basic level because they are part of you. I think of gifts as the things that shine out in us, the things we can't not do in a joyful way. Like the person whose attention is always drawn to babies and small children and who interacts with them with such delight and openness that the children love them back. Or the person who is so in love with earth and soil that their garden is always overflowing. Or the person who can see a jumble of anything, clothes, files, images, ideas, and make of them a beautiful order, and does not find the task onerous, but rather enjoys the challenge and finds deep satisfaction in its completion. Malidome Some goes so far as to call this our unique genius. Everyone has them. We're not taught to think this way about ourselves and our culture. We think of genius as something a very few, very smart, very accomplished people have. The rest of us are just ordinary, not spectacular, not special, just ordinary. But Malidome Some tells us that we all have a unique genius. So you are a genius. You just have to find the thing that makes you a genius. And how do you know what your gifts are? How do you identify your unique genius? Sometimes we just know, but often we need others to help us discover our gifts. This seems strange if a gift is something so core to our being that we can't not do it. But that's precisely why it can be difficult sometimes to discern our own gifts. Because gifts come so naturally to us, we may ask, that can't be a gift. It's no big deal. Anyone can do that. As it turns out, that's often not true. There is likely something that comes easily and naturally to you that others have to struggle to do. Some gifts are big and showy. I think, for example, of people with a gift for performing. That usually becomes obvious at some point. Or the people with a gift for greeting and welcoming others. You've probably met them because they have a gift for meeting you. Other gifts are quieter and subtler. The gift of sitting with someone who is sad or lonely without trying to fix it. The gift of just being there. The gift of creating a physical space that feels calm and beautiful. The gift of asking the key question. The gift of saying the one sentence at the end of an hour-long conversation that sums up the heart of what has been said. These gifts take a little more careful observation to notice. As Malidome Some says, one of the things we long for is to have our gifts acknowledged, confirmed, and approved. Part of centering in gifts as a community is to notice each other's gifts and then acknowledge them, to help each other feel deeply seen as people with something to offer, as people who embody their own unique version of spiritual leadership. In the first few months of Reverend Erica's time on the regional staff, she went with her colleague, Joe Sullivan, to a leadership retreat in one of their congregations. Joe led the group in an exercise of noticing each other's gifts. They went around the circle, and for each person, Joe invited others in the room to speak about that person's gifts. They mentioned things like a sense of humor, the insight to find and ask the key question, a willingness to speak a minority opinion with courage and without bitterness. Each person who spoke about a gift did it with deep appreciation. Reverend Erica could feel the joy and gratitude in the room. When they were done, there was a lightness and a closeness in the group that hadn't been there before. This is one way of centering gifts in a congregation. Almost always, there is the same joy, excitement, lightness, and closeness. And often this takes far longer than planned. I think this is because, as Malidome Some says, this is something we crave. Not only to have our own gifts seen and confirmed, but also to see and confirm the gifts of others. People tend to get at least as much joy from telling someone else about their gifts as from having their own gifts confirmed. It feels good to appreciate others in this way. And it's such a rare thing. So when we get the opportunity, we want to revel in it. As Unitarian Universalists, one of our principles is to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We can't promote and affirm that unless we are able to acknowledge and receive their gifts. Centering in gifts is a vital practice for human well-being and wholeness. This is true for individuals and the community as a whole. Our gifts are not for us. They are meant to build, maintain, and restore the community. The community needs us to deliver our gifts so it can be vibrant and strong. And we need the community to help us identify our gifts, show us where those gifts are needed, and to receive our gifts. Right now, I invite you to think of someone who has a gift that has been important to you. What have you seen someone doing with joy and love? What has someone offered to you that has been moving or helpful or supportive or inspiring? Take a moment to say thank you in your heart for this gift. And if you've never told this person the gift you have received from them and what it has meant to you, I invite you to consider doing that. This idea might seem totally awkward. It's strange how rarely we tell each other what we appreciate about them, what we mean to each other. And because it's rare, it is also awkward. It's something that many of us lack practice in. But if you do it anyway, it is usually appreciated. It's usually a way of spreading some joy. How could this become a more regular part of life in our congregation? Maybe you want to try the exercise of naming gifts on a committee you're on, or in a small group you belong to. If doing it all at once feels overwhelming, maybe you can take turns lifting up the gifts of one person each meeting until you've celebrated everyone. Maybe you want to lean in this even more. Maybe those of you who have the gift of taking the conversational lead could make it a point to start telling people the gifts you notice them bringing. If you did that enough, maybe it would be less awkward for others to follow your lead. This sermon is called Receiving Generously because we usually think about giving generously. And many of you give very generously of your gifts and your skills and your other resources to the congregation. And that's also an important spiritual practice. But we think less often about what it means to receive generously. A gift has meaning when it is received and appreciated. That's as true for the gifts of our being as for more concrete gifts. Since we crave having our gifts seen, acknowledged, and confirmed, it's an act of generosity to each other to receive each other's gifts. Part of that is noticing each other's gifts and speaking them aloud, as we've been discussing. But there's another layer to the practice of centering in gifts. Malidoma Soma says that there are countless people in the West whose efforts are sadly wasted because they have no means of expressing their unique genius. Some of us are lucky enough to have ways to offer our gifts in other aspects of our lives beyond the congregation, in our families or our jobs or other groups we belong to. But some of us don't. Some of us don't have another way to offer our gifts at all, or some of us only a little bit, or only occasionally. So as a community, part of receiving each other generously means offering each person a way to express their unique genius. Sometimes this requires creating new avenues to offer gifts in the community that haven't existed yet. This is how we help each other grow in spiritual leadership, by giving the power in each of us a way to shine. You are a genius. Right now, without having to do anything, you are already carrying gifts for your community and for the world. Turn your attention inside. Can you notice your own gifts? Every person in this room is a genius. They are all carrying precious gifts for our community and for the world. Can you notice the gifts of another person in the room? If not right now, can you prepare to be on the lookout? Can you make it a practice to seek the gifts in others? You are all geniuses. And together, you can create a community that notices gifts and celebrates them and gives them ways to be expressed. I invite you to give it a try. In our meditation this morning, I invite you to think about people in the congregation. Ask yourself, what is their spiritual gift? How have you witnessed their act of their giftedness? Who might you ask to reflect your own gifts back to you when you feel insufficient? Please be still for a few moments of silence. Well, we have an oops in our order of service this morning. Apparently, I have neither the skill or gift of proofreading. So we're going to switch to the teal hymnal and sing hymn number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please stand if you are able.
When our heart is in a holy place,
Our closing words this morning are by Eric Williams. May you be filled with the blessings of this coveted community. May you carry them with you as you depart here. May you discover the places in the world where these blessings are needed. May you have the courage to share them. May there be an open place within you to receive the blessings of the people whom you will meet along the way. Please join me as I extinguish this flame. Until we are together again. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Go in peace.
Left hand,